Each year, around 10 million people die due to cancer. That means 27,000 people each day. After the cardiovascular diseases, it is the second leading cause of death, and until now there is no cure for almost all metastasized types of cancer. The body of an adult consists out of roughly 30 trillion cells, and each day die around 60 billion of them. And since you started this video, already a couple of 100,000 cells died. And that means that our cells constantly need to divide in order to compensate for this loss. And that all happens in a very complex but controlled manner. Later more about that. Cell division also plays a crucial role in wound healing and muscle growth, as damaged cells need to be substituted continuously. Cancer in turn is defined as cell division which is uncontrolled. That means that cell division occurs independent of the presence of regulatory signals. That presupposes that those cells are abnormal, and in this video I will tell you what causes those cells to get abnormal and progress to cancer. But before that, it's important to know that cancer is not just one disease. There are many different types of cancers, as cancer cells can be of different origin. It can start basically anywhere, in the lung, liver, colon, breast, brain, and even in the blood. Those types of cancer of course have their similarities, but they differ mainly in the way they grow, how they evade the controlling mechanisms, how they respond to different types of treatment, and in the way they possibly spread. I'm sure you also heard about the term tumor, but what exactly is the difference between a tumor and a cancer? Cancer is by definition malignant. That means that cancer cells can spread in the body and affect other tissue or lymph nodes. We call this they can metastasize. Tumors can also be malignant, but in comparison to cancer, they can also be benign. Benign means the cells can grow, and they can grow even pretty big, but they do not metastasize, which implies a much better overall survival. So keep in mind that cancer is malignant and tumors can be or get malignant. Depending on the extent a cancer has developed, you can determine the stage of the cancer. That staging differs quite a bit from cancer type to cancer type, and there are various staging systems. For example, the TNM staging for solid tumors or the Ann Arbor staging for blood malignancies. But all in all, we can stage the tumor progression in more or less 4 different stages, with stage 1 representing an abnormal growth and stage 4 a highly advanced and metastasized tumor. So what exactly causes cancer? To understand that, we have to have a look inside the cell. Our cells contain different cell organelles, most importantly the nucleus, which harbors our genetic information, the DNA. As you maybe know, DNA is transcribed into RNA, and a so-called messenger RNA is then translated into one or more proteins. These cells then take on different functions in our cells, for example when it comes to DNA repair, cell division, or other regulatory functions. That, on the other hand, means that disturbances in the DNA are disturbances on the protein level, and this can lead to cancer. There are basically 2 main groups which are specifically engaged in forming cancer. First of all, we have so-called oncogenes, which are upregulated in cancer via different genetic alterations, which I will discuss in the following, out of proto-oncogenes. And secondly, we have tumor suppressor genes, which are downregulated, also via those genetic alterations. And this is very bad, as oncogenes or oncoproteins enhance the protein synthesis, cell division and growth, while the downregulation of the tumor suppressor genes does not inhibit the tumor growth anymore. So what exactly leads to those DNA alterations? A very well-known example is the sun. The sun emits UV radiation, and this radiation can damage the DNA directly or indirectly, and therefore lead to mutations or so-called thymine dimerizations. If such a mutation or dimerization occurs and is not repaired by the cell, and if the DNA section where this mutation lies codes for a tumor suppressor or even for the protein which is responsible for the DNA repair, then your cell might lose it. Or your cell produces much lower amounts of this tumor suppressor or DNA repair protein. And the same counts, of course, for other types of radiation, for example, X-rays or gamma radiation. It's important to mention that one mutation is mostly not sufficient to transform a normal cell into a malignant one. Usually, many mutations are needed because we have many other protection mechanisms. Carcinogens like benzene or arsenic, which you can find in multiplicity in tobacco for example, are extremely mutagenic to our DNA, as they can produce radicals which can attack our DNA, lead to mutations and activate oncogenes or deactivate tumor suppressor genes. Same with the diet and alcohol consumption. A healthy lifestyle, including regular workout sessions, has an impact on your hormones, insulin levels, and metabolism, which all favor a normal cell function. Some specific viruses can also induce cancer, as they use a mechanism called insertional mutagenesis, where they insert their viral DNA into the host DNA. If this viral DNA is inserted, for example, in front of a proto-oncogene, it might enhance its transcription and lead to the transformation from a proto-oncogene to a potent oncogene. The last cause for cancer or DNA damage I would like to mention are the natural and not really influenceable DNA repair, transcription, and repair mistakes. Even though we have different DNA repair mechanisms, miss and nonsense mutations frequently occur and even sometimes have a familial genetic background. This is the reason why some people, no matter how healthy they live, still can develop cancer, but I will discuss this in a future video more detailed. Also, gene amplifications and gene fusions, so-called translocations, can occur, leading to the formation of oncogenes or oncoproteins, like for example the BCR-ABL oncoprotein in chronic myeloid leukemia, which drives different oncogenic pathways. Unfortunately, almost every second person will be diagnosed with a form of tumor one day, and even more unfortunately, 20% of the people die because of cancer. Even though research groups all over the world made huge achievements in the last 50 years in terms of cure and palliative therapy, there is still much work to do. In the last 20 years, molecular therapy and immunotherapy came into focus with a promising future against cancer. Alright guys, I hope this video was informative to you and that I could give you a general overview about what cancer is and how we develop cancer. Keep your risk factors low, stay healthy, and see you next time.